Hi, this is Rick Gray. I want to talk for a minute today about the importance of mindset. So, I coach an agent in eastern Idaho who has been a producer for a long time. She was an agent for 12 years before I started coaching her. And she was a $3 to $4 million producer every year. You know how agents kind of hit a level and that's kind of the normal thing they do year after year. So she was at 3 to 4 million, knew a lot of things though. A lot of people looked up to her. She was president of Women's Council of Real Estate. She's on several different boards, very involved in her community and knew what she was doing. But that 4 million mark was kind of her ceiling for some reason. So we started coaching together. And I talk a lot about mindset, right? Coaching is something where you have outside eyes looking at what you're trying to accomplish and then helping you focus on what matters. Prioritization, right? The challenge with real estate agents is sometimes they're pulled in 1,000 different directions. I like to say they're a mile wide and an inch deep. Let's go, how about 3 inches wide and a mile deep, right? Let's focus on less things and let's get really good at them. And that starts with mindset, not having that fear of missing out, the FOMO that everybody says, oh, this person over here is doing this, maybe I should do this, or this person over there is doing that, maybe I should try that. Agents like to dabble in a lot of things. So one thing we're going to work on in coaching is focus. Focus on the right things. So prioritization and getting your mind right. It reminds me of a story. So I grew up in Oregon. I grew up in Eugene and went to the University of Oregon, so I'm a duck. Our arch rivals, if you've heard of them, are the Oregon State Beavers. So growing up as a Duck fan, the Beavers were always terrible. In fact, they had 26 losing seasons in a row when I was a kid. 26 consecutive losing seasons. Terrible team, almost always last in the Pac-10. It was Pac-10 back then, before it became the Pac-12. But the Beavers were terrible. And then Mike Riley took over. So the coach before Mike Riley, Jerry Pettibone, was not very good. In fact, in 1995, they went 1-10, 1 win, 10 losses. In 96, they went 2-9, 2 wins, 9 losses, and then Mike Riley took over. And Mike Riley's first year, they went 3-8. They weren't very good. You know, not a very good team really, but he started off and he changed the mindset of the players. And it's an amazing story. I'll fast forward to the end, then I want to tell you a little bit about how he did it. So if you look at 2000, so the year 2000, the Beavers were 11-1. They beat Notre Dame 41-9 in the Fiesta Bowl. Just totally destroyed them, dominated the game. They were the best team in the country that year. They really were. Their one loss was to Washington by a field goal, but they dominated everybody they played that year. The same kids, a lot of those kids on that 2000 team were there in 1996 when Mike Riley took over. How do you turn a program of 26 consecutive losing seasons around to being really one of the best, if not the best team in the country that year in 2000? Well, it was under Coach Dennis Erickson. By the way, Mike Riley left after his second year. They had a 5-6 year, his second year. They still weren't a winning team yet, but 5-6. So 28 consecutive losing seasons before they finally got a winning season under Dennis Erickson. But Mike Riley set the tone. And how did he do it? He did it by dealing with the players' mindset. Do you think he came in and said, hey, we're going to win the Pac-10. We are going to be the best team in the country. What do you think the players would have thought if he just said that? They would have laughed him out of the locker room, right? There would have been no credibility. So he started with the belief system that they had. Believing, number one, you can get better. Not you can win, or not that you can be great, or not that we're going to win the Pac-12 or the Pac-10 back then. No, it was you can actually get better. And I'm going to hire position coaches. We're going to watch film. We're going to break things down, and we are going to get better as a team. And that's the first part of mindset, is believing you can improve. Number one, you can improve. Then that transitioned up after about 1.5 years, 2 years into, you know what? We can be competitive in some of these games. They circled some of the games on their calendar, so, you know, we can probably be competitive in these games. And that eventually turned into a belief of, you know what? We can win some of these games. And that turned into, we're going to win these games. And that was a process over 4 years. I watched this. I was a big college football fan. I still am. I'm not a huge Beaver fan, but my dad went to Oregon State. I have family members who went to Oregon State. My nephew just graduated from Oregon State. So I followed the Beavers, but it was an amazing turnaround like I've never seen in sports. And I was just fascinated by what did Mike Riley do? And it was mindset. Believing we can get better, then working on actually getting better, and then believing we can take that even higher, and it just snowballed. But I think a lot of the previous coaches just told the kids that they're going to do either not very good, which they didn't, or they gave them unrealistic expectations. We're going to do a lot better. We're going to start winning games. And the kids were like, yeah, sure we are. You know, Mike Riley said when he first showed up at Oregon State, The first thing he realized about the kids in the locker room is they didn't feel like they belonged in the Pac-10. They didn't feel like they were worthy of it. He goes, I've got a long road to hoe here. And I realized right away, we have to start with beliefs and your mindset. So on these coaching calls, when we talk about business and we talk about real estate, specifically how to grow a big team or how to grow a big business or how to improve your profitability and get more consistent income, one thing we're going to talk about is mindset. And it's going to start with your belief systems. How do you believe about yourself right now? Are you a competent, educated professional that can get things done? Or do you hope business comes to you? Right? We're going to deal with that mindset, but it starts right there. And if you love that story of college football of Mike Riley, I encourage you to look into it. It's a fascinating turnaround, and it all starts right here.